Okay, I just wanted to talk about the Boss SY1000, great unit that it is, and the OSC Synth and pitch to MIDI triggering within this unit, which I think is not satisfactory, sorry to say. The OSC Synth is a synthesizer in the Boss SY1000, which is essentially a pitch to MIDI triggered synth. You can tell that by the latency compared to things like the dynamic synth. But it's got inherent issues with it that are just not acceptable within a unit of this value. So I'm going to demonstrate that. So what I've got here is a Godin LGXT, but I've got a standard sort of GK internal Roland pickup installed in it. That split, and that split goes into a Fishman Triple Play, which is triggering in Logic some electric piano, and it's also split to go to this. You can see it, a GR30, 26, 27 years old. I've had this for a long period of time. Again, split to this and sending sort of the GK signal to this. So triggering three things at the same time, all recorded in Logic. So what this will emphasise is how this deals with the information sent from the pickup, pitch to MIDI, how the Fishman Triple Play deals with it, and how the GR30 deals with it. Couple of things. This doesn't handle chord pitches individually when the chromatic is set off. If it's set to off on this guitar specifically, it really doesn't deal with it very well. Fishman Triple Play doesn't have a problem, neither does the GR30. And also, one of the worst parts about this is the actual false triggers. When I say false triggers, if I take my finger off a string or anything like that, it will probably trigger a note, whereas this GR30 won't, and neither will the Triple Play. Something to do with the dynamic sensitivity of the note within here, and there's no real control over that. I've tried I've tried the input settings on it, I've tried the sensitivity settings on it. Whatever I do, it triggers spurious notes on whichever guitar I use. So, especially if you're doing things like legato, and I use a lot of legato in my playing. So, I'm recording now in Logic, so I'm just going to show you, just as an instant, to show that chromatic is off. Everything that I'm playing now, including the electric piano, is got string bends on it. So if I played a simple C# minor chord, you can hear straight away that specifically the SY, everything's sounding at the moment. We'll listen to the individuals. You can hear the SY is not dealing with that very well. Better that time. Let's try that just to. You can hear some wobbliness that you won't hear from the other instruments. That I could just about deal with because I can set it to chromatic, although I do like the idea of chords and sort of subtle shifting that you get by, you know, bending notes. So it's not really acceptable, but the worst part about it is the false triggers. Let's take something simple, a simple legato line, D Aeolian mode. You can hear that. As I took my finger off the A string at the 8th fret, it triggered an open A note and also an open D. That's pretty bad. Now this and this, when we listen to them in isolation, aren't doing that. This is why it needs to be sorted out with the dynamic sensitivity of that synthesizer. And to give you an example, if I just play the 8th fret on the A string and I just gently lift it off, look, you can hear the same as the. Now, these two, 99% of the time, will not pick that up. There's no way of stopping that sound coming out of this unit. I've tried all the dynamic sensitivity settings on it, and you'll hear only this sound, only the OSC synth and also the MIDI version, the MIDI out from it does the same sort of thing. Triggers spurious notes. Basically saying it's on when you're actually taking your notes off. So the velocity sensitivity of this is set way too high, and there's no way of controlling that on the unit. You can't take that down. I've tried. If you set it high within the synth itself, it won't even pick up the first note that you play, even if you play it quite hard. And then it's sort of compressing the two notes together, so even the slightest note that's not even meant to be there won't be filtered out at all. So there's no dynamic sensitivity there. So let's just have a listen to this in isolation now, just to prove the point. First off, let's have a listen to the electric piano. How does the electric piano deal with the chord for a start? First off, I think we've just got the bending notes, so you can hear that the notes, you know, sort of bend on the electric piano as well. So let's have a look up here. You can hear those are bending. You can even hear the vibrato on the electric piano. So you know that this chromatic is set off. Now let's listen to that. So that's the chord. Perfectly in tune with what's happening on the guitar. I hope you would agree there. No problems with it. Yeah, let's hear it again. Yeah, okay, that's working fine. And we've heard those back. Let's have a listen to the GR30s. This here, the GR30's interpretation of the chord. No problem. Let's try again. No problem. Not quite the same amount of sustain as the electric. Again, no problem on that one. Now let's have a listen to what the SY makes of that chord. This is all the same guitar, triggered from the same thing. So here's the SY's version. Already at the end of the note you can hear it. The pitch starts to wobble and sounds disgustingly dissonant. And let's listen again. Not so bad that time. Let's listen to the major 7. To my ears, that's going terribly out of tune. Like I say, that's bad enough, but what's really bad is this. So let's listen to the little hammer-on section we did with the Fishman Triple Play. Okay. Perfectly tracking. Okay, so let's now listen to the Roland doing the same thing. See? Same basic thing now, the GR30 tracking, the simplest of legato lines. Okay, and then let's listen to the wonderful SY1000 and see what it makes of the very same line. Well, we already know, we've heard it, but let's hear it in isolation. Trigger the bass note. Trigger the bass note. I don't really want a chord at that point, it triggered 2 notes. And then if we have a listen just a bit later on, we can hear some. You can hear those sort of note on sort of things, events happening, and we'll just have a listen to those with the no note on. Every one of those had a note on from that GR30, not one. And that unit is great for legato. It tracks amazingly well for legato. So clearly there's something that needs to be sorted out on the OSC synth on this instrument, because I've proven without doubt that the Fishman Triple Play and the old GR30 does a much better job. So again, Roland Boss, can we have this sorted out, please? It's a simple solution, I'm sure. It's just to do with the dynamics of it. Yeah, needs sorting.